Now I'd like to say something which is very important. And I love the fact that you do such detailed questions, man, because the horror of not being, not getting into IIT and
Especially now, where
especially now.
people are getting lonely. One of the beautiful things about Indian cinema, which Hollywood can never get, even if they try to. 11th of July on Netflix. It's Aap Jaisa Koi. It's a sweet, sensitive film. I'm not complaining at all. It's the second time in 1 week that I'm meeting Fatima. Hello, beautiful. How are you?
Hi, I'm good. How are you?
Very well. And the very hard-working Madhavan, my dear old friend. How are you? Thank you for making various planes, various trains to do this interview.
Always a pleasure, man. Always a pleasure.
Wonderful. Vivek Soni, who's been on the show only the second time. Yes. The last time was many moons ago for Meenakshi Sundareshwar. Kaise aap?
बहुत बढ़िया,
Good?
बहुत बढ़िया. Thank
Wonderful.
you for having me.
You know, this is a milieu that, to me, it's your formative years in Jamshedpur. And I'm harking back to, of course, you're playing a much older person in the movie than perhaps when you were in Jamshedpur. But it must have been a wonderful, idyllic life, yeah? All the Jampot guys, Imtiaz Ali, Adarsh Gaurav, they have such wonderful things to say about life in Jamshedpur. So talk to me about that time.
Very much like how it is in the film. It is idyllic, laid back. You know, sometimes we went back to shoot in Jamshedpur, and then suddenly you realize that everything is still well with the world here. Utna desperately is not hurtling towards a disaster like it seems in all the cities when we read the news and all the Instagram and other social media reels. It just looks like the whole world is into a boiling cauldron. You know? But those people are still laid back. There is still a lot of importance given to relationships. There's a lot of importance given to dignity, family dignity, collective dignity. So when we went back, all that got triggered. Like I remembered the horror of not being, not getting into IIT, and I went back. I went past my house. And I could actually hear the voices saying, "Arey, usko nahi mila, और इनको तो 9 points में मिल गया." I realized that world still exists. It hasn't vanished totally.
And like our mutual friend Manoj Bajpayee says that in Bihar and in Jharkhand, even if they have to abuse you, they'll say "aap ki."
बड़ी तमीज में गाली देते
बड़ी तमीज है, यूपी और बिहार दोनों में.
That's wonderful. I think it's lovely for any female actor to play a powerful role in a movie involving Bengalis or Malayalis.
Love it.
Because Kerala and Bengal are pure matriarchal societies. Just wonderful, isn't it?
Yes.
And that must have really appealed to you at the story screenplay level.
Screenplay level. And, generally it's very difficult to find characters, especially in romantic films, where the woman also comes out as a strong character. Naito, we always see her just being a person, just without any strong arc. So here at least there was everything for me to play. There were layers. Our relationship is also not one tone. There are a lot of ups and downs. So I was very excited to be a part of a film like this.
And it's nice that you explore regional India very beautifully. Even Meenakshi had the essence of Tamil Nadu, and you didn't just go to Chennai, right? You went into the interiors and filmed it. Madhavan, did you see Meenakshi?
Course.
Yeah, you did. Yeah. So you know exactly what I'm talking about. So you like to do that, don't you?
I mean, like after story, the other thing which I look into it, where the film is based. First the story should appeal me on the thematic basis कि कहानी क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रही है. उसके बाद the second thing is where it based, because the place where we set the story, it kind of gives you a canvas to open it visually and through audio also. In terms of the costume, the language, and what sort of a landscapes it's going to be, because eventually cinema is a visual medium, right? So yeah, it just kind of helps you as a creative person in terms of open it up in different sections. So
And the good thing about him is he just doesn't scratch the surface and show the stereotypical expectation of that region, right? So I love the way he went into the in-depth of the South Indian culture in Meenakshi Sundareshwar, as well as in this film. It's not just कि बिहारी accent में सबने बोल दिया तो हो गया. It is quite embedded. The story is quite embedded in the culture, and that's why and like she said,
Even in my world.
yeah.
What I also loved is through your character, it's a fun film.
Yeah.
the maksad of the film, the modus operandi of the film is not to teach us any life lessons, but we learn some life lessons in a very non-preachy manner. You know, for example, equality in relationships,
Yes.
which as men, it's just so ingrained in us
Yes.
that we need somebody to not tell us once, but repeatedly. I mean, I love the scenes between you and Madhu Bose. I love the bromance that Namit Das and you
Yeah,
bring on.
yeah.
Those scenes are terrific. I mean, you guys could just be shooting pictures
Yeah.
or chatting with each other. And there is a takya kalam that he uses. Please watch the film for that. I'm not going to say it in the interview. It has something to do with body parts, which I find beautiful.
Yeah.
No, that Radhika wrote that line.
Radhika Anand has written this takya kalam for Namit Das's character, which is
Yeah.
break something. So that must have been fun, man. I mean, doing these scenes with Namit. Yeah.
Yeah, because he's such a wonderful actor and even a wonderful person. Even though we didn't get much time to do readings together, but the camaraderie, the romance was instantaneous. You know, he took a little time to understand what was expected because we didn't do the readings together.
Yeah.
So the way we tried to make it real, but he got it so quickly. And I love the fact that you do such detailed questions, man, because this bromance bit is, you know, people will miss it if they don't, if they're not, you know, perceptive to it. So I'm really glad that you got it.
Thanks.
It's actually a great part of the story. But now I'd like to say something which is very important. Hey, whatever you saw in the trailer, unlike a lot of what people think, is not even the entire plot of the film. There's a huge element to this story that is not revealed in the trailer. And that's where you'll see the importance of bromance and what they do and how people of my age are, you know, at 42 and when they're lonely, what they do and how they might get into a little bit of an issue because of that. And that's the trigger point for our film.
Let's talk about the music. Rochak Koi is a very interesting composer because he is not very conventional film, but yet he's able to make indie pop, which is part of mainstream cinema
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
But you have a different background person, I think. You have Rochak doing 2 songs.
Rochak did 2 songs.
Yeah.
Justin Prabhakaran did 3 songs.
Justin did
and he
3
did the BGM. The same guy who did Meenakshi music as well.
Yeah,
So Justin
yeah,
and Rajshekhar did the 3 songs. Rochak and Gurpreet did 2 songs.
And as usual, like in your first film, like in Meenakshi, the songs just take the story forward. As
Yeah.
Madhavan singing to Fatima's character.
No.
No, it's not.
I
Every
wish.
song has
I
a
wish.
purpose to it and kind of takes the narrative ahead.
Yeah. So talk to me about that. Talk to me about how you brought about the music. Have you kept it slight regional tones, or you said, "Ke nahi, you know, I don't need to," because the characters are embodying Jamshedpur and West Bengal in any case. So let's just keep the music neutral. How have we kept that?
No, it wasn't neutral. Like melodies are in a way that regardless of people are aware from that state or not, उस प्रांत के लोग नहीं होंगे तो भी it's the point being the melodies are very universal, you know. But in terms of lyrics, in terms of the arrangement, we have brought in some elements which kind of belongs to that state. So there is this song called Jadoo Wali Chimki, if you'll hear it, you know, it has a lot of elements which kind of belongs to that region. And even Raj, in terms of like Sare Jag Mein wala jo song hai and couple of other songs, he's brought in those small touches, you know, which kind of explores that landscape. How at times music helps the story go a bit forward, and also the story vis-a-vis kind of gives a song a space so that it kind of comes and takes the story forward. Otherwise, then if there is no, because that you have to keep in mind while writing it. Otherwise, then a guy is sitting and thinking about the girl and cut to then वो Switzerland वाला song हो जाएगा. Then cut to they both are the. So you have to write those songs, you know, in the script. Otherwise, then they will all be just dream sequences or item numbers.
One of the beautiful things about Indian cinema, which Hollywood can never get, even if they try to, is the joint family system. And even if it's not the joint family system, it is that, I mean, it's a classic example. My brother sometimes will not talk to me directly if he wants to approach a sensitive issue. That vibe between Bhabi, the Devar, is such a beautiful part of Indian cinema. And
Yes.
it's, I mean, the Rajshri brothers, Rajshri has explored it, but the modern way of exploring it is something there which is seen in this film.
Yeah.
So I'd like both of you to comment on that.
You know, I don't think there is, now that you tell me, something very interesting. I don't think there's any other culture or language in the world that has names like Kaka, Poopa, Bhabhi, you know, Devar, Jethani.
So beautiful as opposed to uncle and auntie.
Yeah, and Dada, Dadi, Nana, Nani. And with each of those names, there is a picture drawn for the kid. So everybody has, with the name of the definition of the relationship, there is also a picture that is formed. And the beauty of that is, you know, how much respect to give and how much liberties to take based on the
Just the name.
That same person can be somebody's mama and somebody's poopa.
And the relationship
And the
dynamic
relationship will be
change.
different.
Yeah, true.
Isn't that amazing?
Amazing.
That is the beauty, and I think exploring that, you're absolutely right. No other Western culture will get it. Or जैसे तमिल में अन्नी and तंगची भी है.
Yeah, of course.
You know, they have a elder sister and a younger sister, so they know where they, like, you know, it's amazing, and it's amazing that you brought it out. I just realized that it's fabulous.
I want to also talk about romance of people who are middle age or just reaching middle age. I mean, so much is made of
Younger.
youthful romance, and your last film was a youthful romance film. Cut to this, you know, people in their 40s and 30s finding love.
Yeah.
I think it's a very interesting subject,
Yeah.
and especially now where
Especially now.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
people are getting lonely
Yeah.
and are willing to date.
Yeah.
So talk about that. I mean, was it always supposed to be an older couple, or did you somewhere around change it? Is
No,
my
in the
question.
script, it always supposed to be an older couple between, you know, Shrinu being in 40 and Madhu being in 30. So it was always there in the script, and that's what fascinated me towards the script, because because क्या होता है, जो romance है, वो जो age bracket है, उसके हिसाब से, you know, it kind of flows. A same romance in a let's say जो 18 साल के teenagers होंगे, the intensity of that romance will be totally different as opposed to someone who is in mid-30s. So the intensity of the film kind of, it comes from the age group your couple is. How I treat a 40-year-old character Sri Renu as opposed to how I treat a 25-year-old Sundareshwar or any other teenage character who's 18 will totally vary, you know, in their personal lives, what they're dealing with, because at every age we look at life in a different way, and how we look at it, it totally kinds of, you know, explains what they want and how they want their relationship to be. So then the entire landscape in a way opens from that perspective.
One thing I want to say, but this is our story, bro.
Yeah.
You know that once upon a time, somebody lonely and not married at 40 was an anomaly. कि ये कुछ तो गड़बड़ है भैया, इनके साथ ये कुछ. अभी क्या है, and which is what you brought out very beautifully. कि the men are trying to tiptoe right now to understand what is a new norm and new culture to accept. Okay, so like she points it out very gently in the movie, and hopefully this guy will understand. That's actually the truth. So you're finding a lot more people who are very lonely because they don't know how to speak the new language or understand the new culture, and they're developing relationship at this age. Either they are never married or never, experienced the love like this in this film, or they are either married and divorced because what they expect from each other has become unacceptable right now, and so they're still very lonely. And that is why I feel that this story is very relevant for what is happening today, and he's written that very beautifully.
This is a very interesting discussion, because I've reached a point when if I see my friends in their 40s and 50s single, I don't necessarily encourage them to get married, but I encourage them to go and find themselves companions. Because I don't want to see my friends in their 40s and 50s and they're male going to a bar and unnecessarily having too many drinks, hitting on a young girl, you know. Or at the other end of the spectrum, getting into too much spirituality, which is, you know.
Correct.
And sometimes you feel like if this person had a
Balance.
companion in life,
Yeah.
it would be very, very healthy. I love the Sanskrit professor bit.
Yeah, I know.
It reminded me of school when we used to do Janphal Lata Bhanu ke roop.
She was the most amusing teacher. No? Sanskrit was something that you never took, or they never made it important for you to consider it seriously.
Which is sad, because the Germans were learning Sanskrit.
Yeah.
The whole idea of Max Muller Bhavan and all started
Correct.
because the Germans said, "Oh my God, it's so similar to our language."
Yeah.
So that is a bit of a stroke of genius. How did you come up with that? Do you know a real life Sanskrit professor who's
No, it was
kind
in
of
the
nerdy?
story. It was in the story. It was in the story in terms of what Radhika brought in, that character who teaches, Sanskrit. And I quite liked it, and also in terms of, in earlier films in Hindi cinema, a lot of times they've made it as a very stereotypical. So I said, we'll do it Sanskrit, but we'll keep it very real in terms of, looks like it's straight from the life and not a stereotypical portrayal of a character who's teaching Sanskrit.
And the title, it has nothing to do with the famous 80s song.
आप जैसा कोई नहीं, मतलब फिल्म के अंदर आपको कोई ऐसा रिमिक्स वर्जन नहीं मिलेगा, because I just feel कि it's kind of a phrase, which on and off we have all said in our lives at times when we are in awe of someone or in longing, and the film also somewhere emotionally resonates of finding someone. So that's why I felt कि आप जैसा कोई. But हाँ ऐसा कुछ
जिंदगी में आए
remix
तो
नहीं
बात
है.
बन जाए.
हाँ, but remix नहीं है. There is no song which kind of.
Lovely.
Yeah.
My time is up. 11th July is when you can catch it on Netflix. It's delightful. It's called Aap Jaisa Koi. It stars Madhavan Fatima. It's directed by Vivek Soni, and it has a wonderful ensemble cast. Please go watch it. You'll enjoy it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
One world, your station. Radio 1.